Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we begin, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. Now, after the murder of Thanos by Izuku Midoriya's hands, Deku spent a month rebuilding New York. He then left and founded the West Coast Avengers after spending 4 months building his own multi-billion-dollar company. Deku is on cutting-edge research in a number of fields, and he is getting his name out there with people like Tony Stark. Now, Deku's company still has a long way to go, and still has a lot of things they need to do. However, Izuku, after he founded the team, he went to go recruit some people. He extended offers and some joined. Some he had to personally talk to. When he approached the Sentry was able to be convinced. But Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, did not like that Izuku talked to this man and got him on the team. The Sentry is a very powerful person, and if it wasn't for him, they might not have had the chance to win against Thanos. However, he is still dangerous. She tried to make that quite apparent to Izuku, but Deku was ignoring the warnings. Now, with that being said, we do actually have Izuku Midoriya, who was trying to get a lot of things sorted in his own life. He got to see Jasmine, his daughter, for her second birthday, and Crystal, she got to see Izuku again. However, she was keeping Izuku at arm's length and made it quite apparent. She's only here so Jasmine can meet his parents, along with the fact that she has always wanted to meet Izuku's family. She's heard about them from him, and they were lovely people. Though Izuku at any point could have came up to Attilan and talked to her, come see his daughter, but for some reason he is still keeping them at arm's length. And this she does not like. It made her mad. If she lets Izuku off and just they try to go back to how their life was, he'll do something like this again. He might get put in a situation, or if things do ever go bad, he'll run. He set down his ring and left her alone. And that hurt. She didn't want to let Izuku back in, because letting him in the first time, that was whenever he was a stranger, not somebody she cared for. Now, with that being said, Izuku, he did get to at least be a bit more involved in her life, be a bit more involved with Jasmine. Though, Crystal, that's a harder story. She is concerned about about reapproaching her relationship with Izuku, and starting up a new one with him might blow up in her face again. Now, with that being said, currently we do actually have Izuku, who does go to wake up. Right on him, breathing heavily, and trying to just gain his bearing. Because Izuku Midoriya has had this nightmare before. It happens a few times. Sometimes it's every night. Sometimes he gets some sleep. Other times, he's restless. He can't fall asleep at all. Currently, Izuku gonna climb out of bed and go to his lab. Him getting an early start on a few projects of his own. And currently Izuku gets to work on that. Thanks to Extremis, he no longer needs the full 8 hours. But even getting half of that seems a little unreasonable. It hasn't been easy. Ultron left a little bit of a gift behind. And Izuku is still trying to come to terms with that. Now, currently Izuku, he does get an alert on his phone hours later, heading upstairs and into the common area where people, they have been doing quite a bit. The tower is quite active this morning, and currently someone is making breakfast. Currently, Deku walking into the kitchen and turning his head, seeing Deadpool, someone sitting there with headphones on, a Hello Kitty bathrobe, and cowboy boots. Him, someone shaking himself around and dancing to some music. And Izuku, he would turn, looking at his coffee maker, and going to actually bring up the pot, pouring it inside his cup. Currently, him putting it back and turning back to Deadpool, who is cooking food. And everyone, they actually are talking about a bit of things. And this does stuff Izuku a bit more alarmed. Pietro was up earlier, and he got an early start on the day. And if he's right, he does what he does every morning. Goes out and monitors the city for a second. Or, well, I guess a few minutes. He should be back soon. And Johnny got up early, and Friday informed him, getting some other stuff from the Baxter building, so there's still that. Right. Currently, Izuku gonna turn, and seeing a few people watching TV as they're eating breakfast. And Izuku just won't stand there, bringing his hand up and pouring a second glass of coffee. Him going to turn and sit it down currently on the island. Him going to actually walk over and enjoy his coffee. Him looking at the TV as currently Pietro will come zooming back in. Him so going to land where he is on the island, turning his head and looking around, looking at the cup of coffee as he'll get a turn. Izuku bringing his hand up and giving him the thumbs up, as the man will get a turn back and go to somewhat have a drink, because, oh yeah, no, he definitely got the good coffee. Currently, him taking another sip and looking up to see Wade. A little, huh. Currently, Wade gonna turn, bringing his hand up and sitting down some pancakes in front of Pietro. Him looking down and, well, those are certainly shapes. Wade bringing his hand up, going to give a thumbs up and smiling, before going to turn back to his work, since he is a master of his craft after all. And this does mean quite a bit. Now, Carol Danvers would come walking out of the elevator, her looking around the room and seeing Deku sitting there watching the news, trying to be up to date on a few things that are happening around the city. And currently Carol would just step in, her collecting herself and trying to think about how exactly to bring this information to the team, because it is not going to be easy. Currently, her turning and watching Deadpool walk out of the kitchen. Currently, him walking past her and bringing his hand up, talking about it. Hey, Carol, okay, so, listen. He's gonna just tell her this right now. You know, while things aren't as serious and the guy's still doing build up. What are you talking about? Okay. Listen, Carol. Things are a little complicated. What you're gonna try and share with them and tell them about? You sure you really want to do that? I mean, besides, we did all sort of solve that crisis. How do you... Wait, you shouldn't remember. I remember a lot of things, especially when they're plot convenient. Also, the guy just mixed them the fuck up. What? Okay. Listen, I'm gonna leave. Everyone's in a good mood. I made breakfast, and hopefully we avoid the entire situation that happens. Though I know I got money on that fight. What fight? Later. And my turn. Currently, him patting Carol on the back and running off. As Carol does a turn staring at Deadpool, a lot more annoyed and a little confused. That guy always seems to know something, and honestly, it's getting to be a lot more annoying. Her turning back to Izuku and staring at the team members all sitting there. And this does mean quite a bit. Her walking over and standing in front of the TV, expressing bring your hand up. Right, okay. There's a lot of things they all have to talk about. She understands getting comfortable and learning more about this building, but she wants them all to be serious real quick. It's early, And she's had a lot to think of since yesterday. She's gonna declassify some information. It's gonna be heavy, and if none of them want to hear about it, then they should probably leave the room. Her gonna turn, seeing Storm and Wanda, telling both of them that perhaps they might want to step out. Hmm? What are you talking about? Yes, if you're going to say something, allow us to hear it. Besides, I did get comfy. Fine. Listen, the information is going to be hard for all of you to hear, especially because none of you remember it. What? Yeah, none of you remember it. In my head, the timeline is almost a little, no, almost 5 years. So there's that. However, to all of you, it's well around a decade ago now. So here it is. We're gonna turn, looking at the thing that Izuku built, and trying to find a. We're gonna turn back, asking exactly where she can plug this into to show them the information. And Deku, he was just gonna bring his hand up, telling her just to hand it over to him. And she was gonna at least toss it through the air, and Izuku was gonna catch it. Him bringing his hand up and going to look at his watch before you're gonna bring up the USB and tap it onto it. Currently his watch gonna do a few things as it does then begin to display a few bits of information. And Deku, he does get to stare at this information on his watch a little concerned. Cause but how that shouldn't really be. Izuku, you alright, man? Uh, Him bring his finger up, tapping on his watch and swiping up. Currently, all of them look at the projector as Carol will go to walk out of its way. And currently, information is on screen. And Izuku, he feels like this explains why the Century was seen as a rumor, why information on him seemingly doesn't exist, why he's never heard of the man, heard of some of his feats, heard of his strength, heard of him at all. The idea of him being a rumor is explained because everybody, almost a decade ago, had their memories erased of this man's very existence. And it means a lot. The information Carol displays to them, it's about an incident almost a decade ago. With a Century, he was a hero. He was worried and concerned. He was scared, but he stepped in to try and save the world from Galactus. And, well, upon doing so, the Void was unleashed. He sent Galactus packing, and Carol, along with the Earth's heroes, had to step in and take him down before he almost destroyed the entire planet. And this certainly does mean quite a bit. He hurt a lot of people, killed a lot of other people, and, well, Carol just remembers it vividly, very vividly. He hurt someone near and dear to her, and that still hurts. Now, Deku, he is staring at the information, and it just explains why S.H.I.E.L.D. dropped him as a, well, client, first of all, for therapy, and why they may have stopped trying to help him. He's not really a good person to help. If he is a hero, he might lose control and snap. It might get out, and it may be unstoppable the next time around. The Izuku, he does stare at the screen. Him just taking in the data, and it's surprising. Doctor Strange erased all knowledge of his existence, and the world moved on, unaware of the depths, unaware of the danger he posed, unaware as to everything. It's just weird. Very weird. Nizuku, it would have turned, asking Carol exactly if she was actually going to at least show this information or keep it hidden. Or is she only displaying it because it's a perfect reason for Robert to leave the tower? Because this has nothing to back it. And she would express it doesn't have anything to back it because of the simple fact Doctor Strange casted that spell. She could go fly over to New York and talk to him right now. Or he could do it. Her bring her hand up and pointing at Izuku, talking about how she saw how he acted during the Thanos invasion. He wants to be a leader, but he couldn't even command a team, even whenever things got dicey and hairy. People had to go off of their own experience. As far as she's aware, has he had any combat experience? How well trained is he? He's what? 20, 21? And Deku would go correct her. He's 23. And he's been Iron Man since he was 16. It isn't a joke. He has plenty of experience. Besides, he's got the know-how and the tech. If she wants to question him, then she can go ahead. Though he's got questions about all of this, things he wants answered. And Carol does inform him. All the information's there. If it would make him feel better, call Captain America. Or is he still trying to avoid that? She gave him everything he'd want to know. She didn't have to. She could have hidden all of this. But now that they're aware of it, they need to understand. She has a right to be concerned. And Robert Reynolds, he is a live hand grenade. Keep that in mind. And while they're at it, how about they actually talk about the team? Who's going to be leading it? Him? As far as she's aware, she has more right to be in charge than him. She has more experience and she's actually worked with the Avengers for years. Before he came along. And Izuku stares at her, talking about how it's his team. He's funding everything. He built everything. And she just came waltzing along because Sentry. And encouraged you to somewhat walk over, bring her hand up and actually poking into Deku's chest, telling him she came along to protect people because clearly he didn't know about the threat. She told him about it. She's giving him the information now and letting him know it's real. If he can't handle it, then say so. The Sentry isn't a regular charity case. Fact is, he was fine where he was. Robert didn't want to be bothered. Let him go. And Deku stares at Carol, bringing his hand up and grabbing her by her wrist, and telling her, pushing it away, not to get in his face. And she would just don't step forwards, informing him. And what? What will he do? And Deku stares at her, and Carol is going through it in her mind. She wants to get a reaction, see what he'll do, see exactly what he'll say. If he loses his temper or makes a snide remark, he'll just prove he's another Tony Stark. If he's more like him than she thinks, it'll be a problem. Harder to work with a hotshot and an arrogant, egotistical billionaire. Yep, a pattern. The Wizuku does tell her. If she's trying to start something, say it. If she doesn't think he's capable, say it. Whatever she's talking about, say it directly. Don't feed him bullshit. He's not in the mood. And Carol stares at Izuku, telling him flat out. He might have killed Thanos, but as far as she's aware, he destroyed that armor. He is still human. Inhuman. I'd watch your tone though. I can still take you on. I don't need the God Killer to take you down. Sure you don't. Carol, in my time as Iron Man while you were gone, you know what I did? I stepped up. I did what I could and I was a hero. I've taken on Hulk. I've taken on Thor. And I killed Thanos. I've dabbled in technologies you don't understand. Now, tell me, if you want to fight me to prove something, say it. Besides, I'm more than willing to get it over with. Take off the suit. Hmm? Take off the suit. Then what are you? Inhuman. Smart, intelligent, smarter than you. I got powers. And I'm sure you don't want to test them. Besides, I take off that suit, I can build another one. Make a new one. A better one. See what I can do there. Now, what do you want to do? Because things seem to be a little complicated. Outside. That's what I thought. A test? No, a fight. I want to see what you can do. Show me if you're so confident. Deku gonna turn and tell her, fine, he'll be right back. He has to go pick up something. Currently, Izuku gonna head downstairs. And Carol, she's a turn. Her gonna leave. And Deadpool gonna pop back in the room. Currently, him gonna turn and put something into his pocket. Going to express, folding one of his legs over as Carol gonna turn. Her turning her head and bring her hand up. Telling Wade, he really should put on some pants. Oh, come on. I'm not gonna miss this. Besides, after you told everybody about the frickin' what? Oh god, what did the writers call it again? The Void's outburst. No, that's the in-universe term. It was rain. Dark rain? No, wait. Yeah, no, that should be it, right. Oh, well, whatever it was called. Who gives a shit? Listen, Carol, I'm here to watch this. Besides, I know how it's gonna end. Currently, her staring at Deadpool. And we're gonna turn, asking if anybody has a bet they want to make. Iron Man versus Captain Marvel. This is gonna be good. Currently, Peter going to turn, talking about how Carol should probably take it easy on this. Her turning her head and telling Peter that Iron Man needs to know who exactly he's dealing with. Besides, he's, well, you know, I've known Izuku. Trust me, he knows what he's doing. Besides, Carol, I don't think you want to step up to him. He's not what you think. What do you mean? Peter gonna try and express. Izuku has data. He's run the numbers. If he's sure about something, that's when he's cocky. Though, if he's unsure, he takes it seriously. He's not like Mr. Stark. And does want her to know that. Currently, Izuku flying an armor up into the air. As he does, Chris won't sit there. And right now Captain Marvel does a turn walking out, seeing the Model Prime suit. And this, it does intrigue her. Currently it flying up into the air as Carol will get a turn, expressing to all of them. She'll bring Iron Man back down soon, though do be on standby in case she has hurt him. The armor might be good, though it's not that good. Her gonna fly up, a little bit more cocky because of her powers. Izuku might have data, but data is different from combat experience. And this, it should be nice. Currently Izuku floating there in the air as everyone, they're watching on. And Deadpool, he does just don't sit there. Currently, him eating some popcorn. As the team are watching on. And Carol does get to tell Izuku, if he's gonna put on that suit, then he really should be aware. She won't hold back. She won't pull her punches. But if things do get too dicey, she'll call off the match. Does he understand? If they get too low, then things are going to stop. And Deku, he understands. Currently, Carol going to fly forwards, and Izuku going to bring his hand up and create a shield around him. Currently, Carol going to fly forwards at Izuku, bring her hand back and smash into the shield. And Izuku, he will somewhat fly backwards. Currently, him activating his air brakes and lowering his shields, bringing his hands up and blasting at Carol. And Carol just don't fly backwards. Her taking the blast as it actually is going to hurt. However, she's going to absorb some of that energy. Bring her hand up and send a blast at Deku. And Izuku will send a blast out directly at Carol. The two blasts are going to collide in the air as they begin to struggle. And Deku will going to bring his hand up. Currently, Carol bring her other hand up and blasting at it, feeding more and more power into it. And Izuku, he is currently holding both of the armor's hands up as it does begin to attack. Now, the Unimi does go to activate. Currently it's sending a blast out at full power, and it does a fire into the two blasts. Currently it begin to take over Carol's attack. And Carol, she does do one thing. Currently she does at least throw her hands out and get ready. Flying backwards as the blast will go to strike her in the chest and she does absorb that energy. Her goes on spin around and blast at Izuku at full power. Her bring her hand back and smashing into the armor. Izuku being sent flying backwards as he does go to bring his own hand up. Currently scanning Captain Marvel and seeing that she is getting stronger. Though it does prove some theories. Her powers do have limits, and she can be injured. So, let's see exactly how we can abuse this. Currently Deku going to turn, flying forwards at amazing speed. Him smash right into Captain Marvel as she would bring her hands up. Her smashing to the back of the armor as Izuku would create a shield to take the blow. Her smashing into it and bring her hand back. Her smashing the shield again as currently the Deku would activate his air brakes in his legs. Him flying backwards as he would bring his hands up, blasting at Captain Marvel. Her being struck in the chest and in the face. Currently, her bring her hand up and grabbing at her eyes. And Deku would come flying back in. Him clocking across the face with a left hook. And then going to fly forwards, doing the same thing with a right hook. And Marvel going to bring her hands up trying to block that. However, when she's going to block the blow, is going to send a straight hook right into her nose. Currently, her bring her hand up, a little more surprised, blasting wildly at Izuku. Izuku going to take the attack and block it, thanks to his shield. And Carol would open her eyes, her getting her bearing and seeing Deku. And Izuku does get to express. Carol still is dealing with quite a lot of things. Him going to fly backwards, bring his hands up and send two blasts at Carol, at the same time activating missile systems on his back, facing away on his shoulder blades. Right now they're going to open up and begin to shoot out. And as Izuku does a blast Carol, she's going to bring her hands up. Her going to dodge the attacks and blast back at Deku. And the missile systems do begin to actually fire back around. Them flying at Carol as she's going to bring her hands up. Her blasting one side of them away and bring her other hand up trying to do the same thing. And Izuku, he's going to do one thing. He does actually bring his hand up and create a sonic sound. Her going to actually hear that sound as it's going to somewhat recoil through her entire body. Her then being struck with the missile systems as Izuku would watch her fly backwards, alarmed. And Deku does then move forwards, him bringing his hand up and activating the gravity field inside of his armor. Her alarmed and going to sit there in the air, unable to move as Deku go flying forwards. Her bring her hand up and blasting at Izuku, as currently she's beginning to start spinning in that bubble, and Deku does go flying towards her still. Him evading the attack and flying in. The bubble gonna actually pop as Deku go fly in and rush her directly in the face. Him smash her across the face and then bring his hand out, punching her in the gut. And Marvel, she does go to actually pull her hand back. Her smashing on her fist as Deku to grab onto her hand and hold it back. Carol, hearing the armor somewhat break a bit, before pushing back her entire fist. And Izuku would actually begin to put pressure down, him clocking her across the face with an uppercut, and then going to actually backhand her again. And this does alarm her. Her going to actually bring up her left hand and smash the armor across the face. Right now, her a bit worried by the strike. And Izuku, he'll get a turn back to Carol. Right now, him going to inform her, blasting with the unibeam, sending her flying backwards, about what she should be more concerned about. She thinks that everything will be so easy, but it's not going to be. Besides, if she wants to be worried about something, be worried about herself. And this, it does somewhat annoy her. Currently Deku bringing up the right hand and telling her, the armor beginning to somewhat shift and change, about how things are actually going to work. And Carol does a stare on. The suit slightly larger and currently with what appears to be some different technology. And Izuku going to bring up his right hand, blasting out a sound wave cannon directly at Carol, her being struck by it and having it bombard through her ears. And Carol does not recoil, bring her hands up as Deku would then go to bring up his left hand, blasting Carol with lightning as she gets struck by the attack. Currently, her flying down and towards the city. And Carol, she's going to open her eyes, her beginning to burn with power and going to fly back up in the air. Or now her flying to get Izuku and bring her hands up. Her bring them together and smashing into Deku's chest. And right now the larger prime suit does a flying backwards up into the air. Deku actually going to sit there and bring his hands down, grabbing onto Carol's shoulders and smashing his helmet into her head. And Carol, she would go to sit there, bring her head backwards and smash into this helmet. Her going to actually begin to actually lay more damage into Izuku's armor. And this, it does begin to show a bit more of a difference. Carol is absorbing power, getting stronger and stronger and stronger, though she is only trying to prove a point here, trying to prove something. But the more she sees the suit, the more she's beginning to be aware. She can just cut back a little bit, and that little bit turns into a lot. As currently the two are still up in the air, flying at each other, and releasing a massive amount of force. And the Avengers are a lot more surprised. Some of them thought that Carol might have the advantage. Though, I mean, apparently not. Now, currently two beams are colliding, and Izuku, he does just not stand there. Him going to actually bring up his hand and fire something at Carol. And Carol, she does go to take the attack and fly backwards. Her a lot more alarmed as Deku, you're going to bring his hand up. Carol would actually bring her hands up and blast at Deku. Currently her flying backwards and trying to stay away. If she's in close range, she'll be hit with the sound wave attack. But Deku will bring his hand up and then rip it back towards him. Currently Carol, somewhat flying forwards, a lot more confused. Her trying to push backwards as Izuku, he'll get to fly forwards as well. Currently Carol reversing her momentum and finding that Izuku reversed her center of gravity again. This is a lot more surprising. And Deku go flying towards Carol, smash her across the face. Her being actually fly down and towards the earth. And Izuku does it to watch on. Because Miss Danvers, she is... Come on. Come on. Izuku, Miss Danvers appears to be unconscious. Shit. I'm gonna fly down. And currently, Carol, she does actually somewhat begin to open her eyes. A little bit more concerned. And she does get to find herself falling from the air and into San Francisco. Currently her turning her powers back on and beginning to fly back up. Right now her narrowly evading the street and up into the air. And Deku, he does come flying down. The moment she went to go turn, Izuku was there, chasing after her and trying to save her. Though this means nothing. And Carol does find herself up in the air, talking about it. Okay, fine. She'll admit something. And what's that? You're more capable than I thought. I'll give you credit on that. This was a test. Sure it was, Carol. I've seen combat data. I know when someone's holding back and when they're not. Besides, that one punch you actually intended to hurt me. Be aware of that. Then again, the suit could have the faceplate open, and Carol would have stare on. Seeing the empty armor? No, that doesn't make sense. He he should be inside. Deku expressed it through a speaker. She was being fought with the same capabilities as the Mark 7. He built the suit to have particles similar to the Mark 7 and the Mark 8, though she fought on those conditions. The combat data he used, yeah, some of it is Mark 10, though much of it was still old. She even was fought with Hulkbuster designs, so he'll give her this. She's powerful, but at the same time, she needs to know when to shut up. Does she understand that? And Carol's angry. Her flying forwards and yelling at Deku about this entire thing. Currently her gonna flap into the air and away. And Izuku can tell that she was angry. Though, he did prove his point. But she needs to hear it. At least, know she's not the strongest. She's gotta be aware of that. I mean, she's trying to follow protocols. But this data she gave him, no way to confirm it, no way to deny it. You can ask Robert, but Robert's not keen to talk about the void. He's not keen to talk about the Sentry either. He can talk to... he can try and talk to Tony, see what he says there, but other than that, not much is known. And Izuku, he's concerned. This means quite a bit. So, yeah, he should probably look into that. And Carol's a bit angry. Though, she was still somewhat impressed by Izuku. He showed capability, adaptability. Those things are necessary for combat. She will give him this. He's better than what she thought he was. Clearly, a lot has changed. And even she is lacking certain data. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.